In the first two matches of your managerial career, you've seen the highest highs and the lowest lows. How have you dealt with that personally, going from winning at the Bridge to losing in a relegation battle against Leeds?
Well, actually, it's 3 games because I took also the game against Sheffield Wednesday when we qualified. So, no, yeah, I mean, it's natural in football. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and then you need to, if you want to be, you have a long career as a manager, you need to know how to analyze the things and don't be too emotional. And in the same way, where we were not too high when we won against Chelsea, we were not too low when we were lost against Leeds. And that's how we need to take things too. We need to take the emotion out. We need to analyze what happened there. We already did it. We already did it with the boys. We already put something that where we need to be better and try to fix those mistakes and then thinking about the next one. So it's nothing out of the box. It's more about trying to be stable and balanced in the good, in the less good.
They say you learn more about your side in defeat. What have you learned about your team off the back of the Leeds result?
Well, I think that's true, but you need to analyze both. As I tell you, the problem is that usually when you get a defeat, you try to your trend is to overanalyze your performance. So we need to keep it stable. So what we need, we have some notes from the game, and we know not every game is going to be the same. So we need to find different solutions for different problems in different environments. We analyze the problems against Leeds. Also the problems against Chelsea, because obviously we're there but we're different, and then we will try to don't repeat the same mistakes, and that's it. I think it's a simple process, but we need to be efficient if we want to correct those mistakes and go to the next game with possibilities to perform well and win.
Up next, the FA Cup, of course, against League 2 Grimsby. Will you be playing your strongest side, or will you use this as an opportunity to give some of the younger players, it's a young squad anyway, or the fringe players, an opportunity to impress you?
Well, I have a longer squad and everybody's working really hard. I'm very proud of the work that they are putting every day, and I think it's fair to give everybody the opportunity to play. Also thinking that we have a game in 3 days, so it's not like I'm gonna play with a strong or a weak side. I'm gonna play with a team that can be easily a team starting in the Premier League, and of course we will make some changes if you compare with the last 2 games. But with the mentality of try to go, respect the FA Cup. It's a privilege for us to be there, respect the opponent and try to be ourselves, because remember, I talk always, but it's a process and we are working the process, and every competition match is important for us, and the Cup is no less than the Premier League.
What's the team news in terms of the Southampton players? Is there anyone coming back? Is there anyone you're worried about? Is there any late fitness tests?
Well, no, we have all the same players that we have available for the last game. So especially Salisu and Shea are not ready yet to join us. All the others are ready to go.
And in terms of Grimsby, they've not had a great season in League 2. They've only won 4 of their last 16 matches. For you, how different is your preparation and your analysis of Grimsby compared to Chelsea or Leeds? Is it exactly the same for you? Because in the Premier League, everyone knows everything about every player, every team formation, every manager. This must be a very different challenge for you, because League 2 is not something that's on TV week in, week out.
Yeah, and of course it's not the same in terms of the opponent and how easy you get information about them. But one of the points that we have made this week and in all our games is we work with habits. So if we make the habit of every player review the player that they are gonna, or the possible player that they are going to face in front, they need to review Grimsby. If we need to watch 5 matches and then get the analysis department to get the last 50 or 100 corner kicks, that's what they do. And I'm sure that everything is in place. We have the same report as if we play Chelsea or if we play any other opponent, because in the end of the day, it's not about the opponent, it's about how good we are in the things that we do. And if we allow one time to don't do our job proper, then this thing can have some negative effect on us. So I'm very on it. I'm very on it. Of it doesn't matter who is the opponent. We need to be ready with at least the same amount of information and quality and excellence that if it's a Premier League opponent.
So same preparation for Harry Clifton as Harry Kane.
Yeah, because in the end of the day, we want to go through, and then we are gonna win. We want to win football matches, and that's the only way we have. And if I allow relaxation in any part of the organization for a game like tomorrow, then that means I'm just taking down some of the credit that we worked for the last 2 weeks, and we are letting down our teammates. So we need to keep the quality. And again, I say many times, and also with you, it's about us. And if we want to be in the top, we need to take those games as is also very important for us.
And just a couple of final points. Grimsby have had 22 different goal scorers this season, which is more than any other side in League Two. They don't have one player that is the focus, one player that gets the goals. Does that make it a little bit difficult for you to prepare for a side that has goals all over the pitch?
No, not especially, because we not only prepare about who scored the goals. We know that they have Joy, that a striker who has been scoring lately, and he's captain, so he cannot play. But the other strikers will step in. It's not about who scored the goals, it's about how they arrive to the situation, which kind of movements, which kind of patterns they will repeat, if they will come with a 5 in the back, as they did it against Luton in the cup in the previous round, if they will come with a 4 in the back, as they also have played with Paul, and then try to find our way to perform and our way to do things.
And just finally, we saw the buzz that the cup run created when you beat Crystal Palace, when you beat Manchester City. How much could this game be another catalyst to building that confidence that you need for your relegation scrap?
Well, I think every game counts, and we will take the game like that. So we are gonna be there fully ready to go and perform, hopefully to get the result and go through to the next. And then, of course, when you win and do the proper things and then have a good performance and get the victory, then it's a booster for the next thing to come. So hopefully it will be a good one to keep going and to face Leicester in the weekend.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Rubén, there'd be quite a few players, if you select them, who should be wanting to prove themselves to you, having named an unchanged team for 2 Premier League games. Players who aren't in the starting 11. What's the message to the players you pick when it comes to them putting pressure on those players who you've been starting?
Yeah, but for me, it's not about to put pressure in anybody. I have, as I said, I have 32 players. A couple of them are injured, and then the other 30 or 29 are working really hard. And because of the physiological reasons, sometimes you cannot play a game in 3 days, or you are tired in the second game. And the others are working really well, then it's for them to just take the opportunity, go and perform. I'm not putting any individual, or I don't know anybody like you're stressed now, you need to prove something. No, this is what it is. This is in front of us. You have been working well. You know the principles. You know the teammates. Then now it's next opportunity to play, and then I will make decisions based on that. So simple for me.
One of the modern trends is to sort of say the FA Cup's not important because the Premier League's become such a monster, but it's still very exciting for a lot of people, the Cup. So can you treat it like that? Just forget the league and just go, we don't want to keep going in this Cup because it is such a great Cup.
Well, I treat it like it's the next game, and I'm very excited with the Cup. And I think we are privileged to be in the Cup and to be alive. And then we want more. We want more Cup games. We want more Premier League games. I was watching the final of the Carabao Cup, and I want to be there also playing against Man United instead of Newcastle. So I think the Cup gives us the opportunity to show ourselves, to continue competing, to give something good for the fans that they have been waiting for a long time now. The club has a good history on that, and then I don't want to take any competition down. If we can be there, if we can get to the next round, if we can get 2 rounds, then I'm going to take with everything. That's for sure.
Yeah. I was in Valencia 4 years ago when they won the Copa del Rey, and the whole city was celebrating on that night, and cars and whistles, and you know, that's the FA Cup still does that as well over here for cities when people go and win it. What's your view as a young Spanish man about the FA Cup when you looked at it from a distance? Because it's a famous old competition around the world, isn't it? Yeah,
of course. And if you can see the countries like Spain, they have modified their cup model to be like FA Cup. So it's a model for the rest of the world. And as I say, it's a privilege to be in the competition. It's a privilege to have the feeling to compete, to try to arrive to Wembley, to try to arrive into the final. And it's always going to be our nature to compete and then to try to arrive to the very end. That's why I say it's not more important or less important than a Premier League game. It's two separated competitions, another competition where we can show what we are and what we can be, and a big opportunity for us.
Now, just finally, how much do you need the Southampton fan base tomorrow night and against Leicester this week back at home for 2 matches to help catapult you to new levels ready for the rest of the season? They've got a big part to play, haven't they, in staying with the team?
Well, I need all of them, and if I can make a call right now, I need them not for the next 2 games, for the rest of the season, to make the environment in St Mary's as a really strong environment, noisy, being with us, being supporting. We know that the performance has not been the best from our side, but we are trying to work to make them proud. And what I just need from them is just unconditional support. Be there in every game. Try to be this player number 12, as you said, and then be with us with everything. And then let's do it together. And in the end of the journey, let's see where we are. But that's, at the end of the journey, we need to be proud of what we did, and everybody put their piece for the success. So I will just tell them, come, support, believe, and stay with us until the very end.
Okay, we'll move on to the section for 10:30 this evening. Start with you, Alfie.
Thank you, John. Hi, Rubén. You mentioned before the Chelsea game that you've always had to play the ideas of other managers, and now you get to play yours. The first 2 games you haven't had long to prepare for, so things have been similar to the way Ralph Hasenhüttl set out. Is that something that you've learned from him, or is it perhaps something that going forward you might see slight changes?
No, of course. The idea in the defensive, especially in the high pressure, is one of the ideas that I develop, and then I get to know very well with Ralph. That's not a question. So one of the principles, or a lot of principles for that defensive high pressure are coming from that period. But then I think we are also including situations, especially in possession, with different ways to build up. Probably we will watch it more in the Chelsea game. In the Leeds game, the moments where we connected, especially after 5-10 minutes in the second half, you can see a team that can find the lines, the diagonals, can have players between the lines, combine, arrive into the last third all together, and that is what we need to continue doing. You cannot be a good team in the Premier League only being a defensive team. So if you want to stay in the Premier League, you need to also take control of the game in possession, know how to read the moments, now when you need to stop the game, when you need to accelerate the game, now when it's a moment to make a short pass or when it's a moment to make a long pass. And we cannot go and play direct second action, because then we will not make it. And then a little bit of mine is just to also be protagonist in possession. We have players that really can play football in the best level possible, and that's what we are trying to do, but also giving them a system, a platform that allow us to don't concede goals. Unfortunately, in the last game, we were more in the defensive moment than with the ball. I think if you take those moments of the game where we didn't defend quite well, and you try to be a little bit more controlling possession, you avoid or take out some of those moments, and that's where we are going. I think it's a little bit clear of what we want, and again, sometimes you can put everything in the game and then you control and then you can show everything you are, and sometimes, like against United, you didn't get the chance, or you didn't give yourself the chance to do it.
I appreciate that. One thing you said on Saturday was that you wanted to make a comfortable net for your players. You wanted to make a net for your players to feel comfortable and to perform in. You've obviously worked with this group now for nearly a year, so you know what they need to feel comfortable. Is there a lack of leadership, or is there a lack of something that you have to give them to help them feel that way?
No. I think what we need to do is to be clear with what we want, and once we are clear, to communicate in a clear way for everybody to understand, and then to evaluate the process, and then to see where we have failed, either in the communication or either in the part of the idea, to be better. So here it's not about leadership. I don't believe that one person is taking the lead of the group, and as I told you, it's many kind of leaders, of many types of leadership, and what we are doing is just simple. Here everybody counts, everybody has a voice, everybody has an opinion. In the end of the day, I make decisions, and they need to lead themselves, and then they need to lead the others, but everybody needs to feel that it's their own club and they have the opportunity to express themselves through the idea. So it's not about leadership.
If I may, I want to ask about Tino Livramento, just to get the update on how he is. Obviously, we were told that perhaps a new year, but we know he had a setback with his injury. Yeah. Are you able to tell supporters exactly where he is or how he's feeling?
No, I cannot tell exactly when he will be back. He is much better. He had a small surgery after after Christmas because of that setback. So I don't expect him to join us soon. I don't know exactly the time. I don't know if it will make it at the end of the season. So that's all I can tell you. Unfortunately for Tino and for the club, he's not selectable.
I appreciate that. And Mislav Orsic, you mentioned last week had a concussion. I presume he missed a week of training as a result. I presume he's still not available this week. But if he is, or if he isn't, what's the latest on him?
Mislav followed the protocol, the concussion protocol, and then he was back on training on Monday morning. So he completed training yesterday and he completed training today, and then is full selectable for tomorrow.
I think supporters hope that when he came in, he'd make an immediate impact. You know, international play, scored a lot of goals at a really good level. It's been a little bit slower progress, obviously, with the way things have gone for him. Is he somebody who can still make an instant impact when the time is right, or are supporters going to have to perhaps wait for him to still get back up to speed?
Well, I'm not going to talk individually about Mislav. I think he's doing a good job, as the rest of the team. He's working hard, he wants to play, he wants to be in the squad, and then he's following everything, trying to understand what we propose. So in that part, I think Mislav is doing everything he can to be in the team. The problem for me now is that every time we speak, because we have a big amount of players, we will talk about the player that we are missing, and that I don't think is a correct way to do it. So from now on, everybody is selectable as much as they do their work in the proper way. Mislav is one of them; he's doing that. But we will always have the conversation why those 5 players are not. I know Mislav has been in the World Cup, he's an international player, and have all my respect. But others like Joe Aribo also has not been in the squad. He's a former player in the last Europa League final, an icon for the Glasgow Rangers fans. So I will try always to respect my boys, but the question is going to come because I have a long squad, a very big squad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rubén, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your sort of journey in coaching to this point. When did you sort of decide that coaching was what you wanted to do? I know it was quite early that you started.
Yeah, well,
educated in that.
yeah, well, I started to coach when I was 16 for the young kids while I was playing. Obviously, in that age, I detected that my abilities as a footballer will not help me to make it to the top. So I just started to coach young players when I was 16. I was an under-11 team. And then from that, I just picked the university. I'm Bachelor in Physical Science and Sport in University of Valencia. And then in that journey, in that university, I had a great group of mates. One of them is Carlos Corberán, West Brom. We played together, we studied together in the same university, we got the levels together. So it was quite early when I decided to join the world of football, and I didn't have any network, I didn't have any person that I knew that was connected with the professional football. So I worked hard in university, I got the opportunity to complete a technical staff in Greece many years ago. I took the opportunity, and from that moment to here.
What did you love about that job? Was it sort of helping people, or the sort of analysing football and understanding football? Was it all of those?
Well, I like the most the leadership part of it. The part of that you wanna work with them, with everybody, and try to elevate their abilities, their condition, them as a person, not only for the football players, for the rest of the technical staff, for the rest of the organization. I think that's what makes the difference when you want the others to succeed, and then when you want to make everything for the others to shine and to be better and to feel comfortable. And that's part of it we are just trying to put in the organization right now. This is one of the things. And then, of course, the mental challenge every time you play and face an opponent, how you can beat, how you can read the game, how you can change things, how you can maybe moving one player to one position or the other can affect the behavior of the whole team for the good or for the bad. How can they affect the opposition? I think those two parts are the most exciting parts for me.
And were there I know there's quite a few Spanish coaches in the Premier League at the moment, but and I know you've worked in a lot of other countries as well, but were there particular influences that stand out for you in that?
Well, I think Pepe is an iconic coach for us. I think nobody did it better than him, the football in possession. I think we can agree on that. And Pep is an iconic coach for all of us. We follow his strengths and his way to lead, to coach, to live the football. And then I always like the work of coaches like Unai Emery, a coach that came from the second tier, promoted to the first tier, has been able to recycle his football from a more structured football in the defensive moment to a football like he's very clear in possession, want to have the ball, build up from the goalkeeper, sometimes even cause some goals, but he knows at the end of the day he will get more from that kind of football than being only in the defensive moment. So right now I think those two are the two ones that I will pick. Of course, Mikel is doing a fantastic job in Arsenal. Julen has been a national team coach, I cannot say more. And then Javi has been really good coach in the teams like Malaga or Valencia when he have worked that. So, but if I need to pick two, it will be Pep and Unai.
Were any of those or other people, because you said you didn't have many connections in football when you started out, were they quite open, were some of these people quite open for you to come and learn or watch, or did that take a little bit of time before you could?
Yeah, it took a little bit of time, of course. When I first started to go and try to watch, Rafa was there, and you were not allowed to watch it, so you need to sneak a little bit. And the biggest thing for me was a coach that I don't know if you know, was Kike Hernandez. He was the first coach that I worked at, and the year that I spent with him just marked the rest of my career. The way that he just pushed me to have everything perfectly ready, to repeat things that were not have not the quality that he requested, the way to read situations, the way to read clubs in a football like the Greek football that is a little bit special. I think Kike was the one that prepared me for the rest of my career. I must say it was a hard year, but when I look back, it was you cannot pay those kind of years with money. He was a master, and I have used his advices for years.
You used to try and watch a bit of Valencia and what
he
was doing there.
Yeah.
You would sort of sneak in and try and...
Yeah, exactly. Because then if you want to be successful, you need to learn from the best. And in that moment, Rafa was the best.
How old would you have been then? You would have been sort of...
I think it was my 19, 20 years old, 21. Because it was the years when Rafa won the league and the cup with and the European Cup, the Europa League with Valencia. So around that.
And just find how obviously you've prepared the sort of learning about the job and you've gained lots of experience, but how different is that sort of theory to being the sort of front man that you've done in the last two, especially in a huge division, you know, the biggest league?
Yeah. I mean, it's always different because when you are assistant coach, you need to prepare process, but then you don't need to make decisions, and then you don't need to communicate the decisions. And I have been preparing this, of course, not theoretical, but here or in Denmark, I made some press conference. I get to deal with the media. I get to deal with the decisions when the coaches were not there. So, as I would say, step by step, I was getting the confidence for some situations to know how to read and to communicate, to prepare trainings, to speak with the players. And I told you, one of the biggest things that people think is how to lead a group of players, especially in the best league in the world. And we talked, I think we talked last week about how to lead them. And I think if I can have one strength, is that I'm honest. So I'm trying to be honest in everything I do, with you here, with the players inside there. And then when you are yourself, you just need to learn from the situations, and then try to pay some attention into the details, and I think that helps a lot.
Just very lastly as well, while I'm here, on a different subject, James Ward-Prowse is obviously very close to this free kick record in the Premier League. I know you've only had just under a year to see him on the training ground, but what is it in him that's made him so good at that particular part of his game, the free kicks? What have you seen?
I think with his part of that specific part, he's very focused, and he knows exactly what he needs every week and every game to prepare the game. So he has his practice very structured. He has his video footage. He has his steps. He has his kicks. The way he analyzes the goalkeeper. So as I said before, it's about habits, and he has the best habit to prepare the games in free kick terms.